The silver ships appeared in Earth's sky on a quiet Tuesday morning. They hung over major cities like giant metal clouds. People stopped in streets, looking up with open mouths and wide eyes. News channels around the world showed the same images. 12 massive vessels, each larger than a small town. Dr. Kim stood at the window of her lab, coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. She had spent 20 years searching for signs of alien life. Now they had arrived without warning. "They're broadcasting something," her assistant said, turning up the radio. The message played in perfect English. "We are the hegemony. Your world has been noticed. Prepare to receive our representatives." 3 hours later, Dr. Kim found herself in the United Nations building as part of a hastily assembled welcome team. World leaders sat in nervous silence as a transport pod descended from the largest ship. The aliens called themselves the hegemony. Their ambassador stood nearly 8 feet tall with blue-tinted skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. His 4 eyes blinked in different patterns as he surveyed the humans. "Your species has been assessed," the ambassador said without greeting. "You will serve the hegemony as a client race or face immediate pacification. You have one planetary rotation to decide." The room exploded in angry voices. The Secretary General raised her hands for quiet. "We welcome peaceful contact," she said carefully, "but we are not interested in becoming servants. Perhaps we can discuss trade and cultural exchange instead." The ambassador's upper eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." "Doctor," Kim stepped forward. "We need time to properly consider your offer. Our planet has many nations and governments. Decisions take time." The ambassador touched a device on his wrist. On the giant screen behind him, a live satellite feed showed a small uninhabited island in the Pacific. "Time is not available," he said. A beam of light shot down from one of the ships. The island vanished in a flash of blue fire, leaving only boiling ocean where land had been seconds before. The room fell silent. "One rotation," the ambassador repeated, then turned and left. Emergency meetings happened across the globe. Military leaders confirmed what everyone feared. Earth's weapons were no match for the hegemony technology. Some nations wanted to surrender. Others refused to even consider it. Dr. Kim worked with scientists and military advisors through the night. They studied recordings of the ambassador and the little they could learn from scanning the alien ships. "They don't understand us," she told the president. "They think we'll respond like other species they've encountered. But humans are different." The next morning, world leaders gathered again to deliver their answer. Dr. Kim watched from the side of the room, dark circles under her eyes from the sleepless night. The Secretary General spoke clearly. "After careful consideration, Earth respectfully declines your offer. We wish to establish peaceful relations as equals, not servants." For the first time, the ambassador showed emotion, confusion. "Your response is illogical," he said slowly. "Your weapons cannot harm our vessels. Your technology is primitive. Logic dictates acceptance of superior force." "Humans often defy logic," the Secretary General replied with a thin smile. "We suggest you reconsider your approach." The ambassador's skin darkened. "Perhaps you require additional motivation to understand your situation." He turned and left without another word. 12 minutes later, the first attacks began. Military bases across the globe reported energy beams striking from orbit. Chaos erupted as communications systems failed. Fighter jets launched, but were swatted from the sky like flies. In the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Kim watched the attacks unfold on monitoring screens. "They're only targeting military installations," General Bay noted. "Civilian areas are untouched." "They want to break our ability to fight while keeping the population intact," Dr. Kim said. "They need workers, not ruins." The general nodded, grimly. "But they've made a crucial mistake." "What's that?" asked a young officer. "They assumed breaking our military means breaking our will." General Bay turned to the communications officer. "Initiate the scattered defense protocol. All units, to designated fallback positions." Dr. Kim watched as orders went out across secure channels. While the aliens watched major bases burn, Smaller units were already moving to hidden locations: mountain bunkers, abandoned mines, underwater facilities. "Will it work?" she asked quietly. "They expect us to surrender after this show of force," the general replied. "When we don't, they'll be confused. That confusion gives us time." Dr. Kim stared at the screens showing the destruction. "They have no idea what they've done, do they?" "No," said the general. "They just provoked the most dangerous species on the planet, humans with nothing left to lose." As if in answer, a message flashed on the emergency broadcast system going, "Out to all humans who could still receive signals. Stand firm. This is not the end. This is just the beginning." 6 weeks had passed since the first attacks. The hegemony ships still patrolled Earth's skies, but they seemed confused. Their enemy had vanished. Dr. Lee stood in the dim light of the underground command center, studying the holographic map. Red dots showed hegemony forces searching major cities and military bases. Green dots showed human resistance cells, scattered but growing stronger each day. "They expected us to give up," she said to General Bay beside her. "They don't understand that humans fight harder when pushed to the wall." The general nodded. His uniform was wrinkled from sleeping in it for days. "The scattered defense is working. Better than we hoped. We're like water slipping through their fingers." The scattered defense was simple but effective. Instead of fighting the aliens head-on, humans went underground. Literally. Old mines, subway tunnels, mountain bunkers, and underwater research stations became their new homes. A hidden network connected these bases through methods the aliens couldn't detect. A young soldier rushed into the room. "Captain Song's team has returned from the raid, ma'am." Dr. Lee smiled for the first time in days. "Any losses?" "None, ma'am. And they brought something you'll want to see." They walked through the narrow tunnel to the loading dock. Captain Song, a small woman with determined eyes, stood beside a metal crate. Her team looked tired but proud. "We hit their landing party near the old airport," Captain Song reported. "They never saw us coming. We used the sound dampeners just like you designed, Doctor." She opened the crate. Inside lay alien weapons and a small device that glowed with blue light. Dr. Lee carefully lifted the device. "Is this what I think it is?" Captain Song nodded. "Their local command module. Their officer was carrying it. We grabbed it before their backup arrived." General Bay whistled softly. "With this, we might finally understand their communications." Dr. Lee was already connecting the alien device to her computer. "More importantly, we might learn how their shields work." In the 6 weeks since the invasion began, humans had learned a lot about their enemy. The hegemony was powerful but arrogant. They had conquered many worlds, but always faced species that surrendered quickly. Humans were different. 3 levels below them, in the medical wing, Dr. Choi was making her own discoveries. She looked through her microscope at the blood sample from a captured hegemony soldier. "Fascinating," she murmured. Her assistant looked. "What did you find?" "Their immune system is nothing like ours. They have no defense against certain Earth bacteria." She made notes quickly. This could be important. Meanwhile, on the surface, a hegemony commander named Zax stood in the ruins of what had once been a military base. He was frustrated. "Where? Are they hiding?" he demanded. His lieutenant checked a scanner. "We detect no large energy signatures, Commander. The humans appear to have abandoned their cities." "Impossible. There are billions of them. They must be somewhere." The scanner beeped suddenly. "Movement detected." Both aliens turned as a small drone zipped past them, too fast to shoot. It dropped a small metal object before disappearing over a hill. The lieutenant approached the object cautiously. It was a simple metal cylinder with writing on it. He read the message aloud. "You should have studied our history before you provoked us." Zax growled. Meaningless human bravado. That night, another hegemony patrol disappeared completely. Their last transmission mentioned only shadows in the dark. When reinforcements arrived, they found empty armor suits. The aliens inside were gone. Back in the underground base, Captain Song's team returned from another successful raid. 3 more of their walking tanks captured, she reported. and we figured out how to disable their tracking devices. Dr. Lee looked up from her work on the alien command module. Excellent. We're learning their weaknesses. General Bay studied the map. Green dots were multiplying across all continents. Tokyo reports they've established contact with Sydney. The underwater fiber optic lines are working. And the alien device? Asked Captain Song. Dr. Lee smiled. I've cracked part of their code. They're confused by our tactics. Listen to this message I intercepted. She played a translated recording. This species continues resistance after defeats that would have ended any rational civilization. Request guidance from High Command. They think we should have surrendered by now, General Bay said. And that's their biggest mistake, Dr. Lee replied. They don't understand what makes humans different. In another part of the base, Dr. Choi rushed into the command center, excitement on her face. I've made a breakthrough, she announced. The bacteria in our gut, the common streptococcus, it makes the aliens sick, not deadly, but it knocks them out completely for hours. General Bay's eyes widened. You mean we have a non-lethal weapon? That only affects them? Dr. Choi nodded. We can load it into air filters, spray canisters, or the ventilation systems of their ships, Dr. Lee finished. For the first time since the invasion, the room filled with hope. Humans were adapting, learning, finding ways to fight back. The scattered defense wasn't just about hiding, it was about preparing. That night, resistance cells across the planet received new orders. Captain Song studied the message on her secure tablet. We're moving to Phase 2, she told her team. It's time to show the hegemony who they're really dealing with. 6 months into the occupation, the hegemony was growing frustrated. Their reports to the home fleet showed increasing losses, with little progress. Humans were proving to be unlike any species they had encountered in their 2,000 years of expansion. Dr. Choi worked in her underground laboratory, surrounded by equipment salvaged from universities and hospitals. On the table before her lay pieces of alien technology, parts of their shield generators and weapon systems. For weeks she had studied how they worked, taking them apart and putting them back together. I think I've got it, she said, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. Her assistant looked up from his notes. The shield technology? Dr. Choi nodded. Their shields operate on principles we can adapt to our own devices. More simple than we thought. They use magnetic fields in ways we never considered. She connected wires to a small device she had built. When she pressed a button, a faint blue glow surrounded a metal cup on her workbench. She picked up a pen and tried to touch the cup, but an invisible force stopped her hand an inch away. It works, she whispered. Across the ocean, Captain Song led her team through dark forest paths. Each soldier carried a modified spray canister on their back. They moved silently toward the alien outpost that had been established in what was once a small town. Remember, Captain Song whispered. Aim for their ventilation systems first. Then, their faces. The squad nodded. They had trained for weeks for this mission. The bacterial agent Dr. Choi had developed was their new secret weapon. It wouldn't kill the aliens, but it would make them very, very sick. The outpost came into view, a circular structure with strange angles and glowing blue lights. 6 hegemony soldiers patrolled outside, their tall forms moving with mechanical precision. Captain Song raised her hand, then dropped it. Her team sprinted forward from different directions. Before the aliens could sound an alarm, the humans had sprayed the bacterial agent into every air vent. Then they retreated back into the darkness of the trees. Now we wait, Captain Song said, watching through binoculars. 20 minutes later, the first alien stumbled. Then another dropped to its knees. Within an hour, all the hegemony soldiers lay unconscious on the ground, their breathing labored. Move in, Captain Song ordered. Secure their weapons and communications. In the underground command center, General Bay received reports from similar operations around the world. His tired face broke into a smile as he marked successful raids on the holographic map. Dr. Lee, he called across the room, your modified jammers are working perfectly. They can't call for help. Dr. Lee nodded, pride in her eyes. She had redesigned human radio jammers to block the specific frequencies the hegemony used. Their technology is advanced but not magical. Once we understand it, we can counter it. A soldier entered, leading a captured hegemony officer. The alien wobbled on unsteady feet, still recovering from the bacterial attack. Its blue skin had turned a sickly gray. The prisoner requested to speak with leadership, the soldier explained. General Bay gestured to a chair. The alien sat heavily. "You fight," the alien began, its voice translator crackling. "In ways we do not understand." "What did you expect?" Dr. Lee asked. "Surrender. It is logical when faced with superior force. All other species surrendered." General Bay leaned forward. "Humans don't think that way. The greater the threat, the harder we fight." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in different patterns, a sign of confusion. "In 2,000 cycles, no species has ever continued resistance after initial defeat. What makes your kind persist when logic dictates surrender?" Dr. Lee considered the question. "We evolved as both prey and predator. When cornered, we don't give up. We get creative." The alien seemed to process this. "Your creativity, your adaptability, these are advantages we did not calculate. You're beginning to understand," General Bay said. Later that day, Dr. Choi tested blood samples from the captured aliens. She had made another discovery that could change the course of the war. "Their cellular structure is fascinating," she told Dr. Lee. "They heal quickly, but they have no concept of vaccines or immunity. Their worlds must have very little disease." "How does that help us?" Dr. Lee asked. Dr. Choi smiled. "It means they have no defense against biological agents that are harmless to us. The Streptococcus bacteria was just the beginning." At the same time, Captain Song's team had captured an entire hegemony ship using the bacterial spray and the new portable shield disruptors Dr. Choi had created. Human pilots were already learning how to fly it. "The controls are intuitive," reported the test pilot. "Their navigation system is amazing. I can see why they conquered so many worlds." General Bay watched the captured ship hover above their hidden base. "And now we'll use their own technology against them." In orbit, the hegemony Supreme Commander received troubling reports from Earth. His subordinate stood nervously before the holographic display showing increasing red zones, areas where hegemony forces had lost control. "How is this possible?" the commander demanded. "They are primitive. Their technology is centuries behind ours. They adapt quickly," the subordinate replied. "They learn from each failure, and they never stop fighting." The commander's skin darkened with rage. "Increase orbital bombardment. Target their underground shelters." "We cannot locate most of their shelters, Commander, and our ground forces are being captured at an increasing rate." For the first time in his long military career, the Supreme Commander felt something unfamiliar: doubt. On Earth, humanity prepared for the next phase of resistance. The hegemony had superior technology and numbers, but humans had something the aliens couldn't understand: the absolute refusal to surrender, no matter the odds. 1 year had passed since the hegemony ships first appeared in Earth's skies. What began as an invasion had become a struggle the aliens never expected. Humans had not been broken. Instead, they had adapted, learned, and prepared. In the main underground command center, General Bay stood before the gathered leaders of the resistance. Maps and holographic displays showed hegemony positions around the world and in orbit. Red dots for the enemy, green dots for human forces. For the first time, the green outnumbered the red. "Today we stop hiding," the general said simply. "Today we push back." The room filled with determined faces. Dr. Lee sat beside Dr. Choi, both women showing signs of the hard year. Thinner faces, new lines around their eyes, but also a steely resolve that hadn't been there before. "Operation Pushback begins in 6 hours, General Bay continued. "All teams know their targets. Captain Song will lead the space element." Captain Song stood at attention near the back wall. Her once neat uniform had been replaced by a mix of human and modified alien armor. The past year had changed her too. A scar ran across her left cheek and her eyes had the sharp focus of a veteran soldier. "My team is ready, sir," she reported. "The captured ships are fully operational." Over the past 3 months, resistance forces had captured 7 hegemony vessels. Human pilots had trained day and night to master the alien controls. Each ship had been modified with Dr. Choi's improvements: stronger shields, more efficient engines, and ventilation systems that filtered out the bacterial agents that affected the original crews. Dr. Lee stepped forward. "The quantum communication disruptor is ready. Once activated, it will sever all faster-than-light communications between hegemony forces in our system and their home fleet." This was the key to their plan. The hegemony relied on constant communication with their command structure. Cut off, that communication and the alien forces would be isolated and confused. As the meeting ended, Captain Song found Dr. Choi in the hallway. "Your bacteria bombs are loaded on all ships," she said. "My pilots want to thank you. Without those, we'd never have captured the first ship." Dr. Choi smiled tiredly. "Just make sure you come back. We're not done improving those shields yet." 6 hours later, hidden resistance bases around the world sprang into action. Modified hegemony ships rose from underwater hangars, mountain caverns, and desert bunkers. At the same time, ground forces attacked alien outposts with new weapons reverse-engineered from captured technology. Captain Song sat in the commander's chair of the largest captured vessel. Her human crew worked at stations designed for beings with 4 arms and different proportions, but they had adapted. Just like humanity had adapted to everything the past year had thrown at them. "All ships report ready," her communications officer said. Captain Song nodded. "Begin ascent, engage stealth systems." 7 ships rose silently into the night sky, their energy signatures masked to match ordinary hegemony patrol vessels. The aliens had grown complacent, believing the human resistance was limited to ground skirmishes. They never expected an attack from their own ships. In orbit, the hegemony command vessel floated above Earth. Inside, the Supreme Commander reviewed reports of increased resistance activity with growing concern. "Patrol ships approaching," an officer reported. "Identification?" the commander asked. "They carry correct codes, Commander. Routine patrol returning." The commander felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. "Demand visual confirmation." But before the order could be carried out, the approaching ships opened fire. Precision strikes hit the command vessel's communication array and engine systems. At the same moment, Dr. Lee activated the quantum communication disruptor from her underground laboratory. All faster-than-light communications between Earth and the hegemony homeworlds instantly went silent. The Supreme Commander shouted orders as his ship rocked from multiple impacts. "Return fire. Alert all forces." "Communications are down," his officer reported, panic in his voice. "We cannot reach the fleet or other ships." On the bridge of her captured ship, Captain Song directed the attack with calm precision. "Target their weapon systems next. Remember, we want to capture, not destroy." Her gunner nodded, firing blue energy beams that disabled the command vessel's defensive capabilities without rupturing the hull. This was the difference between humans and the hegemony. The aliens would have simply destroyed an enemy ship. Humans wanted to save lives when possible, even alien ones. Around the planet, other resistance ships engaged the remaining hegemony vessels. Ground forces used captured teleportation technology to appear inside alien bases, deploying Dr. Choi's bacterial agents before the enemy could respond. Within hours, most of the hegemony forces were either captured or in retreat. The Supreme Commander watched in disbelief as humans in modified alien armor stormed his bridge. Captain Song approached him directly. "Supreme Commander, your forces are defeated. Surrender, and no more of your people need to die today." The commander stared at the human female before him. She was so small compared to his species, yet she had led the defeat of his forces. "Impossible," he whispered. "No," Captain Song replied. "Just humanity." When the Supreme Commander was brought to the underground command center, he expected torture or execution, Instead, he found himself in a clean room with medical treatment for his injuries. Human doctors checked his condition, while guards stood at a respectful distance. General Bay entered with Dr. Lee. "Your forces have been captured or driven from Earth orbit," the general informed him. "Your choice now is simple: negotiate, or watch the rest of your fleet in this system face the same fate." The Supreme Commander looked at these humans with new understanding. "You could have destroyed us." "That's not who we choose to be," Dr. Lee said, "even when we could." For the first time in the long history of the hegemony, one of their invasion, forces had been completely defeated. The counteroffensive had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Humanity had proven itself to be the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen, not because of cruelty, but because of their unique combination of tenacity, adaptability, and compassion. Retry SF-3. Months after the successful counteroffensive, humanity prepared for its first official galactic negotiations. The massive space station orbiting Jupiter gleamed in the distant sunlight, a neutral ground agreed upon by both sides. Dr. Kang adjusted her formal suit as the shuttle approached the station. As Earth's lead negotiator, the weight of 7 billion human lives rested on her shoulders. General Bay sat beside her, his uniform decorated with new medals representing humanity's resistance and victory. "Nervous?" he asked quietly. Dr. Kang smiled slightly. "Of course. We're about to join a community of worlds we didn't even know existed 2 years ago." The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Through the viewport, they could see other ships, the sleek blue vessels of the Hegemony Council members who had traveled from their home system to handle this unprecedented situation. "Remember," General Bay said as they rose to disembark, "we negotiate from strength, not weakness." The meeting chamber had been designed to accommodate both species. The high ceiling and wide doors suited the tall hegemony representatives, while the temperature was kept at a level comfortable for humans. Guards from both sides lined the walls, watching each other warily. 5 hegemony council members sat across the table. Their blue skin seemed to shimmer under the lights, and their 4 eyes blinked in different patterns as they studied the humans. The lead council member spoke first, his words translated by a device on the table. "This gathering is irregular. In 2,000 cycles, no client species has ever forced the hegemony to negotiate." Dr. Kang leaned forward. "We are not and never will be a client species. That is the first thing you must understand." The council member's upper eyes narrowed. "Your resistance was unexpected. Our forces report tactics and adaptability unlike any species we have encountered." Captain Song, who had joined the delegation as a military advisor, smiled slightly. She had personally led the capture of 3 hegemony vessels during the counteroffensive. "We prefer peace," Dr. Kang said, "but we will fight with everything we have when threatened. That is the nature of humanity." The negotiations continued for hours. The hegemony offered a ceasefire and recognition of Earth as an autonomous region. Dr. Kang rejected this immediately. "We require 3 things," she stated firmly. "Complete independence, reparations for the damage caused to our world, and full technology exchange." A younger council member made a sound that the translator didn't catch, something like a laugh. "You demand much for a species that only recently achieved space travel." General Bay spoke for the first time. "We demand what we have earned. Your invasion force has been defeated. Your Supreme Commander is our guest. 7 of your ships now serve in our defense fleet." The lead council member's skin darkened slightly, a sign of anger or perhaps embarrassment. "The terms are extreme." "The alternative," Captain Song said calmly, "is that we reverse engineer all your technology ourselves. We've already made significant progress. Dr. Choi has improved your shield systems by 30% efficiency." This caused visible reaction among the council members. They had not expected humans to improve their technology so quickly. After a brief recess, where the hegemony representatives spoke privately, they returned with a new attitude. "We propose a treaty," the lead member said. "Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power. Limited reparations will be paid over 50 cycles. Technology exchange will be gradual and supervised. Dr. Kang looked at her team. General Bay nodded, slightly. We can accept these terms as a starting point, she replied. As the details were worked out, the youngest council member approached Dr. Kang during another break. I must understand, he said, curiosity evident in his voice. When our forces first arrived, your technology was centuries behind ours. Your weapons could not penetrate our simplest shields. Yet within one orbit of your sun, you had not only resisted but defeated our best commanders. How is this possible? Dr. Kang considered the question. Humans have a unique history. We evolved as both prey and predator. When threatened, we don't just fight. We innovate. We adapt. We work together despite our differences. A remarkable combination, the young council member admitted. After 3 days of negotiations, the treaty was ready. Both sides gathered for the formal signing. The document recognized Earth as a sovereign power in galactic politics, established trade agreements, and created a framework for peaceful relations. As the hegemony representatives prepared to leave, Dr. Kang delivered humanity's final message. Please tell your people this, she said. Earth seeks friendship with all worlds. We wish to learn and grow as part of the galactic community. But remember what happened here. We prefer peace, but we will never surrender our freedom. That is, the human way. The lead council member bowed slightly. A gesture he had learned was important to humans. Your message will be delivered. The hegemony has learned much from this encounter. Later, aboard their ship returning to Earth, General Bay looked out at the stars with new eyes. What happens now? Captain Song asked, joining him at the viewport. Now, he said, we build, we prepare, we explore. Dr. Kang smiled. And we make sure no one ever again mistakes humanity for an easy conquest. In the months that followed, reports reached Earth of changes spreading throughout the galaxy. Species that had served as hegemony clients for centuries were demanding new rights. The story of how a small blue planet had stood against the mighty hegemony had traveled faster than any ship. On distant worlds, beings looked up at the stars and whispered the name Earth with hope. The humans had proven that even the oldest empires could be challenged. A new galactic order was beginning, one where freedom mattered more than power, and at the center of this change stood humanity, still learning, still growing, but now recognized as perhaps the most remarkable species the galaxy had ever known.